Good day. In fact, what day? No, it's Monday. Um, Honestly, my head at the moment it's not in the day. It's really not, which is really unusual for me. So it's Monday. So welcome to another A Week at the Plot. It's the first segment of the week, and my head is in different places at the moment. And yesterday, I forgot it was the 1st of August, so I forgot to turn the calendar. So when I came down here today and I looked at the calendar and I thought, well, it's the 2nd of July. No, it's not. It's the 2nd of August. Oh, I haven't turned the calendar. So I've turned the calendar. But you know what? That's where my head is at the moment. It's unusually for me. I generally am quite good at segmenting things, but at the moment it seems to be going from one thing to another to another. I make my lists, I diarize things, but still things are not quite going to my usual time schedule, my usual planning, let's say. And that's okay. Again, I that's okay. Unfortunately, because I didn't go home, I didn't pick up that battery, I won't be strimming today. And I've had a look at the plot today, and I think actually I'm going to do the plot tour before I do the strimming. So I think I'll do the plot tour maybe tomorrow. It's all looking, I would say, it's looking between a grey July and early October. It's I'm not going to go on about it being an odd year and a challenging year. I did all that in yesterday's segment of last week's A Week at the Plot. But sometimes when you look at things and you think, gosh, that's really odd. It's really odd. I'm rambling. I don't usually ramble on a Monday, but I'm rambling and I'm waffling. But I have been thinking quite a lot about the plot. In fact, yesterday when I was talking to our plot neighbour here, we both rather coyly said to each other that we had thought in the last couple of weeks about giving up the plot completely. They giving up their plot completely independently of me thinking about us giving up our plot. I'm not really quite sure why that came into my head. I think because I haven't got things properly compartmentalized in my head, things aren't flowing as well as they should be. I've had a number of times where things have been planned and they've had to be changed. I've been going down to For Earth's Sake on a number of occasions, and then that's had to be postponed at the last minute, which in some ways people would think would be great, but that was my sort of programmed day of work, or not the only day of work for them, but a programmed day of in-person work, if you like. And so I've switched to things at my desk. Then something else cropped up this morning, rather late last night, and it meant that this morning the plans just completely went. And then something else happened today. Once I got back from that, I got a call to say that one of our plot holders, from Richard, in fact, saying that a person was trying to deliver a shed to one of our plot holders, and they'd gone to where he works and said, do you know anyone that can let me into the allotments? I'm trying to deliver this shed. So I then came down, opened up the gate, let the person in, took the gate in, the shed in, then they went off and I let the person know that their shed had arrived. They were expecting it to come on Friday when they're not at work. So it was a bit of a surprise for it to arrive, quite a few days early. And it's just been a sort of jumble, and it continues to be a jumble with me forgetting to bring that battery down to do the strimming. But one other thing that I have thought about, and I was thinking about this in Guernsey, I really enjoyed seeing those gooseberries grow this year, and seeing and putting that fruit bed in, and seeing the accomplishments of the fruit bed this year. And of course, I put another one in which has got jostaberries and some autumn fruiting raspberries, which I don't expect to get a harvest from this year, but I do hope to get a harvest next year. And I think I have decided I'm going to turn another 2 beds here on the plot by the polytunnel into soft fruit beds. Yes, I have decided that. Whether I decide to alter that decision, time will tell. But I think the bed sort of just on the other side of the path of this shed where the ceanothus is, the ground there isn't particularly great, and the bindweed can quite take hold. We've got our late potatoes in there at the moment. We've also got some Portuguese cabbage in there. So I'm thinking about turning that one into a fruit bed. It will mean cutting back the ceanothus quite considerably, but it needs a really good cut back. You know, ceanothus do like to be pruned, and they like to rejuvenate and get that new growth. You can't cut, well, you can cut them back really hard, but they take a long time to re-establish themselves if you do that. And then the bed where we at the moment have the beans, the additional beans that Vivi gave us, and the sweet corn, I'm wondering about turning that into a soft fruit bed as well. It will mean that we have got less space to grow vegetables, but it means that we'll have more space to grow fruit. And as I say, I've really enjoyed those gooseberries this year, and there are a few other soft fruits that I think I'd like to grow. In fact, we've got some raspberries, which I think are summer fruiting raspberries, in a tub at the moment that, you know, could quite easily go in there. So I am thinking about doing that. Of course, I've still got to sort out the front perennial bed, which is going to be perennial rhubarb one side and then perennial kales the other side. I need to sort that out, but I sort of need to get my mojo back a bit, because I feel as though I'm lacking the drive at the moment to get these things done. And actually, when I look at the plot, when I look out the door here, you know, there's everything needs a trim. I mean, it needs a trim. Some things are doing really well, some things aren't doing that well. You know, whether we'll get a single pepper this year, I'm not sure. I don't know. I mean, that's the name of the game, you know, and I'm not getting fussed about it, and I'm not getting fussed about my mojo not being quite there. I'm gonna ease my mojo back. I'm gonna give it a little sort of Swiss holler and say, "Mojo, come back." And whilst I'm doing that, I'm just going to do a little bit of weeding today, because I do want to get the salad, the lettuces, the salads that we've got on the bench. I want to get those in, and the bed that they're going to be going in needs a weed. So I'm just going to crack on with that today, really. And you've seen me weed before. You've seen me plant lettuce plugs out before. So I'm just going to do that quietly. I do need to water the polytunnel, so I'm going to do that now. And I also need to tidy the shed. I need to tidy the shed. But you know what? The pocket of time that I've got today, don't start thinking about the things that you have to do, because my pocket of time today is only going to allow me to do the hand weeding. Because I've got a call that I need to do. I've got a document that I need to approve for somebody else. So my pocket of time isn't going to allow me to spend too much time down here today. You know, it's literally, I think it's only going to be about half an hour, 45 minutes, including doing this video. So yeah, I'm just going to get on and do some hand weeding, and I will see you very soon for another segment of A Week at the Plot. See you then. Bye. Oh, and I want to talk to you about the paddock area as well, don't I? I must remember that. I haven't put that down in my notes, but I will remember to do that this week. Bye. Good day. And another unexpected event today. I was doing work, and I got a call from one of the plot holders here to say that they thought that some of the sheds here had been broken into. So of course down I came. Sure enough, a good number of the sheds of tenants had been broken into. Nothing of any value seems to have been stolen at all. No crops seem to have been taken. Our communal shed, there was actually some food in our communal shed, but that wasn't taken. So I think it was just an opportunistic person taking the opportunity of maybe a quiet summer morning to come in here and see if they could find something. There was a bit of Hercule Poirot going on and Miss Marple with a number of us, and we sort of have put together now the process that a person's hammer was used. Oh, hang on a second. That's the police. I'll be back to you in a moment. There we are. It's all go. So yeah, we worked out that somebody's shed had been opened, their hammer had been used to open various other sheds, drawers had been rifled through, shelves had been rifled through. As far as we can see, no equipment has been taken. And you know what, if the people were destitute or homeless and looking for food or some small amounts of cash, I hope you found some. Because I would hate to be in a situation where I needed to steal for food or money. If it's somebody who was vandalizing, then you know what, not much you can do about that, is there? The police have been fantastic. We reported it to the police. It's part of our policy to do that, so we've reported it to the police. They've called back a number of times and have given us a crime reference number and all of that type of thing. So yeah, that's been this afternoon. I mean, yeah, I didn't expect. When I woke up this morning, I certainly didn't expect that the day would unfold in the way it did. But it has. I still haven't. Oh, and yesterday, I was saying to you, wasn't I? I said something about I forgot the battery. The reason I forgot the battery, my head being everywhere, the reason I forgot the battery is, as I thought, right, I'm going to the plot, and then I realised I needed to take something to somebody else. So I would do that before I came to the plot, and on my way back, because it's further away from the plot than my home, on the way back I'd pick up the battery and come down here and do the strimming. And of course, once I dropped something off to them, I came straight to the plot rather than going back home. So just explaining that, because it does look a bit odd. I say, as I said, and I hadn't said. But yeah, so there we are. Another different day at the plot. Yeah, you know, not everyone's shed was broken into. Mine wasn't. And you know, there's nothing of value in here. I don't think any of us don't think any of us very sensibly keep anything of value in our sheds. So there we are. Yeah, unexpected day. But you know what? I've got some Golden Gate beans which are beginning to produce now. They're yellow, flat French beans. I've just had one straight off the plant. It was lovely, 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 lovely. So I think I'm going to pick some of those, go home, and we will have something with the Golden Gate yellow French beans this evening. And I will see you again very soon. There's a wasp just here wondering what it's doing. It's liking my red umbrella at the moment. Oh no, I don't want you to stay. I'm going to have to get that wasp out. I don't want a nest in my shed. Thank you very much. I'm going to go before I start Oh, are you going to come on camera? No, no, he's not. He's not. Or she. Or she. Okay. See you very soon. It's gone out. Yay! See you very soon. Bye. Good day. I wasn't going to do a segment for a week at the plot today. I did the tour this morning, but in the tour I said I was going to do the strimming. Haven't raked up that path yet, but these paths here have been strimmed and raked and are looking a little bit tidier, though certainly need more. Oh look, the bee. Happy. So this is a pile here of cuttings, strimmings. I didn't actually do this bit here or the bit behind the fruit bed. There's so many grasshoppers in here. In fact, so many in this bed, and then in this grass, and then the grass here as well. Haven't done the weeding yet, but you can see over there another pile of strimming that I've raked up, and that's going to go in our hot bin because there are a few perennial weeds in there like bindweed. So yeah, best it goes in our hot bin composter. So very brief today. I'll see you again soon. Bye. Good day. I'm going to get on and weed this bed today, as well as getting some salads in elsewhere. But I was saying the other day in the plot tour, I think, that no seeds that I sowed here, the rocket, the parsley, coriander, or the lettuce, have germinated. The sunflower, which was a volunteer, is doing okay. And when Dawn saw this, she commented that the reason that these seeds that I sowed under here might not have germinated is because sunflowers send out a growth inhibitor. And I have to say, I never knew that. I mean, we learn something new every day. So I'm wondering whether this sunflower has actually sent out chemicals to stop the things that I want to growing down here. Obviously, some of those weeds have grown and there's some calendula in there, but not a single seed that I sowed myself has germinated. So I had a look up, and sure enough, sunflowers are allelopathic, which means that they send out chemicals which inhibit the germination and the overall growth of other plants. And then it got me thinking about that bed over there where the beans are and where the sweet corn is, because last year there were a lot of sunflowers in that bed and there was courgettes in that bed. And I read somewhere this morning that courgettes are not affected by allelopathic plants. So, interesting. I must admit, I'm now a bit cautious about what I put in here because of that sunflower, because anything I put in here, I want it to grow, obviously. However, I'm not going to take that sunflower out. No, it's staying there. So I'm going to think about this bed. I'm going to weed it anyway. There's no necessity for weeds to be in there. I'm going to weed this bed and then get on with something else. See you again soon. And I'll leave you a shot with the allelopathic sunflower bending in the wind. Bye. Good day. And I'm in the poly, as you can see. I really need to sort out the buddleia here. You can see the darkness around here. That's basically the buddleia shading this side. But actually today it's Saturday and it has been such a mixed bag of a day. We've got pretty bright sunshine at the moment, hence I'm in the polytunnel. I think I really should be in the shed because I may be squinting. I didn't bring my hat down because when I came down, or when I started to come down from the house, which was only 10-15 minutes ago, it was really grey and I thought I won't take my hat. But that's been today. It's been heavy downpours, it's been drizzle, it's been grey, it's been sunny, it's been blue skies, it's been grey skies, and at the moment it's sort of broken up blue sky with quite a lot of grey and white clouds. But I wanted to come down because I wanted to get a job done. As you know, we grow Portuguese cabbage. Some call it Portuguese kale. There's various other names for it as well. And I like to get some seed sown now to start growing so that we have fresh leaves to harvest in the hungry gap of sort of like March, April, May. And if you get these going now, you will have that. Usually I would be doing them maybe the end of September, beginning of October even. But because our weather this summer has been so odd, I'm trying to get a month or 5 weeks ahead by sowing them today. And these are they, you can see, little seeds. These are ones that I harvested. So these are saved seeds that I harvested, I think, at the beginning of last year. So in 2019, it may have been 2018, but these are sitting in a glass jar in our fridge and will last, well, they'll have a viability, I think, for 8 or 10 years, fingers crossed. Certainly when I sow them, most of them germinate. So literally, I only want about 12 plants. So I'm going to be sowing about 24 seeds, 12 for me, 6 or 8 for somebody else, and then a few possibilities of non-germination. If we get full germination, I'm sure there's going to be others on the site that are going to be happy to have a few plants to grow over the winter months. So I've come down to do that, and I am going to do that. And all I'm going to do, I haven't got them here, is I'm going to sow them into the half-sized seed trays that we have. Very, very thinly, as I said. And then I'm going to just cover them up with a little bit of compost and keep them watered. But when I came down here and I was looking for the seed tray that I forgot to get to show you, what I did notice, I've still got some brassicas that I had completely forgotten about. To be fair, I said to a number of plot holders, these are in my polytunnel and please take them. And I know quite a few people have. Our plot neighbours here have, somebody over there has, a few others have. But clearly there was still some left. And these, I think, are dazzling blue kale. These here are Portuguese cabbage, and these smaller ones here are Nero di Toscana. Now, some might say, well, why sow any more, Paul? You've got brassicas to put in. Why sow any more? And actually, it's a valid question. But the thing for me is that these have been in our polytunnel. where it's been hot, dry, cold, wet when they've been watered. The soil is quite dry in there, so I think they will have been stressed quite a lot as seedlings. And my fear is that if I just rely on these, they may grow and just bolt and go to seed, which obviously I do not want. However, what I'm going to do is, we've got the beds. I need to sort out the Mange 2 and broad bean bed. So we've got various beds, at least 2 beds that we can put additional brassicas in. So one of the beds I'm going to put these into. Another of the beds I will then transplant the seeds that I'm sowing today into in maybe about 6 or 8 weeks time. And that way I'm covering myself both ways. If these, which I think have been stressed, grow and come to something fantastic, we can always give things away or use them by freezing them. If these, however, have been stressed to an extent in the polytunnel where they go to bolt and go to seed, then at least I've got the backup with the Portuguese cabbage seeds that I'm going to be sowing today. So there we are. A little bit of sowing today and a little bit of unexpected finding of things. But you know what? This week so far has sort of been an unexpected week in various ways. So I'm going to get on and sow these now, and also these now. I'll then be taking these straight back home and putting them in the fridge where I have just brought them from. And I will see you again most probably tomorrow for a final segment of this week's A Week at the Plot. See you then. Bye. Good day. But as you can see, the wind got these runners, and that, how many is that? That's about 5 or 6 bamboos. No, maybe 5 bamboos have broken off, snapped. But the winds, as you can most probably hear, are pretty bad now. But last night they were pretty terrible. But what I'm going to do is, I've got a rebar. So I'm going to put a rebar in, and then I'm going to use other bamboos and put them in here, and then lift all of this up and sort of tie them together. I've checked the base of the, you can see how the bamboo has just snapped there. I don't think any of the actual roots have been pulled out. I don't think so. So hopefully these aren't going to be damaged. Obviously, if the stalk had broken, then there would be. What I am a bit worried about, we've got 2 dazzling blue kale under there at least, and I'm hoping that they're not too flattened. But anyway, I'm going to get on and see if I can remedy the snapping of these bamboos. Well, I've done the best I can. On that lower string there, I've actually tied into 2 rebars, one here and one here. And then I've just pulled everything together in that second bit of twine. But they are so heavy. I mean, you know, they've got beans on them. And really, because of how we use these runner beans, which, as you've heard me say several times before, is demi-sec, i.e. frozen when they're fresh, but the actual bean inside, rather than the pod, frozen when it's fresh and also dried, I don't want to pick them off, because if I'm picking off this to use the bean inside, not the pod, which will be too yucky to eat. It will be too tough. I'm waiting for the beans inside. You can see they're not fattening up quite yet. So yeah, I mean, fingers crossed. I think the next day or so will tell. This is reminiscent of 2 years ago when my whole bean and squash arch came down on the plot that we used to have. Fortunately, down here, excuse the weeds, these don't seem to have been damaged too much. I just need to lift the netting off there, lift that one up a bit. But yeah, these here are not too flattened. Oh, well, if it comes down again, it comes down again, and most of these will be going into the compost bin. But fingers crossed the wind dies down and we don't have winds any stronger than we've got at the moment, which I think are gusting to about 35 kilometers an hour at the moment. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to get on with another bean job. So let's just go in the shed and I'll tell you about that. My other bean frames, touch wood, are fine. Fingers crossed. I've been thinking more about the allelopathic sunflower and the chemicals that it gives off to inhibit growth. And I thought I would have a little experiment. We haven't had an experiment for a while, so I thought I would give one a go. Though actually, no, it should be okay as an experiment. You may remember we grew some Luz de Otoño autumn harvesting broad beans a couple of years ago as plants. They didn't work well. So last year, seeds were available. So I sowed the seeds. And actually the plants were doing really well. But then the wet weather that we had in September and October really did for them. So what I thought is I've got some left. So what I thought is, as I'm not going to be using these to grow, I'm going to put these into the sunflower bed, the bed where the sunflower is, and I'm going to see if they germinate. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to sort of put them about 6 inches away, about a foot away, about a foot and a half away, and about 2 foot away. And then we'll see if any of these seeds germinate. If that sunflower is particularly... It's one of those weeks, isn't it? Oh, that was the shed door shutting. It's really one of those weeks. Oh, dearie me, dearie me. You don't know what to expect next. Anyway, where was I? Yes, let's sow these in the ground directly around the sunflower, and we'll sow them at 6 inches, 12 inches, 18 inches and 2 foot, and we'll see whether any of these germinate. It doesn't matter whether they do or don't. It's just a silly little experiment, which seems quite apt for this Sunday. So I'm going to get on and do that now, and then I'll be back to you in a minute. I need to open the door so I can go out. Oh dear. So there we are. I have sown those loose d'automne broad beans, and August is the last month that you can sow those in the UK, and we'll see whether anything comes of them at all. Certainly nothing came of the rocket, the coriander, parsley and the salad leaves. But there we are. Let's see what the allelopathic sunflower makes of those broad beans. Something which we're not having a struggle with this year. I've just harvested. Quite happy with those. That's Nantes. Those are Nantes. Those are Luna White. They're carrots, not parsnips. I haven't taken any of the London market yet, but we'll have a look at those this coming week, or next week's a week at the plot. But I'm going to dig up some more potatoes. I'm going to take these home. I'm going to take some more Golden Gate beans, French beans home. They're the flat ones just next to the runner beans. And we'll have something with those steamed this evening. Oh, I know what we're having. I know what we're having. I think we're going to have some quiche with it. That's what we're going to have. So I will leave it there for another week of a week at the plot. Quite a varied a week at the plot this week. I think it's fair to say nothing that I've done in this week's a week at the plot was planned. No, none of it was planned in any way whatsoever, apart from maybe picking out these carrots. I'm going to leave it there. See you again soon. Bye.